right, welcome, welcome. Now, I don't know why I am not currently able to put the horizontal version on TikTok. I'm not sure why that is currently happening. But what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about the 4 reasons that creators are stuck. And I'll tell you who this is for. Let me just make a little on the fly thing here, if you will. I'm going to make this. And by the way, this is showing you the power of this thing that I call Ecamm and how simple this is. And then we are going to decrease the size of this. And by the way, if you are, let's see, there we go. Was that it? Yeah, I guess that's it. All right. So, oh, goodness gracious. You can't see that at all, can you? So that's who this is. That's who this live is for. So we're going to leave the text color there and we're going to edit the background. So we actually have one. And we're going to make the background. No, that's annoying. All right, so that's what we'll do. And then we're going to make this a little bit smaller. There we go. All right, there we go. So hopefully you can see that. And let me check the comments real quick. What's going on, Chris? How are you? Welcome, welcome. All right, so this is who this live is for. If this is not you, then you're probably not going to either enjoy it or you're probably not going to get much out of it. Now, again, I'm not sure what's going on with TikTok. I don't know why it's not showing my my horizontal screen. I'm not sure. But this is for experts. And when I say experts, I just mean somebody who creates content on a subject that they are knowledgeable about, and primarily they are 40 plus. If this isn't you, you may or may not get much out of this. Hey, Kathleen, how are you? So this is for the knowledge-rich beginner, right? I wonder if we should do it like that. So this is for the knowledge-rich beginner. They have expertise, but they haven't packaged it into content or offers. The under-monetized creator, already creating content, but not turning enough attention into revenue. This is for the offer confused expert. They know a lot, but they don't know how to actually package it as a product or service to structure and sell it. Or this is the audience stalled educator with useful content, but growth and pull are not there. So if this is any of you, then this is something you're going to want to listen to. But what we're talking about today is the 4 reasons that people get stuck. And really, it comes down to these things. The first is you don't believe that your knowledge is worth anything. That's the first thing. You don't believe that what you have to say is worth anything. And the reason you believe that is because you don't understand the value of what you provide to other people. And for you to understand that value, you need to realize here are the things that people pay for. All right. These are the things that people pay for. Sorry about that. I am trying to get back. There we go. So these are the things that people pay for. Let me pull this up. Well, first off, this is the one thing that people pay for, right? This is the one thing that people will pay for. And I'm going to put this over here. Nope, not there. I'm putting it over here. It's so much harder to try to share stuff on there. This is what people pay for. Information that they perceive as value. And then what they perceive as value equals money. because what you're doing is you're taking somebody from a current state where they're unhappy. You can see the little smiley face, he's unhappy, and you're getting them to a point B desired state. So what you are is you are a you're a well, you're a problem solver, but you're also a transformation builder. Like Kathleen is a transformation builder. She helps high achieving women not feel like they aren't enough or what they're doing isn't enough. That's what she does, right? She is a transformation builder. And let's go back to that again. So, what you do is number one, you help them identify the problem. Number two, you understand the cause of the problem. Number three, you get to apply what you know about the problem. You get them to take action. That is usually the most difficult step. I know Kathleen would absolutely say that the most difficult step to get anyone to take is to actually take action. You have all this great information, but if they don't take action on the knowledge that you share with them, they're not going to get transformation. And a lot of times they don't do it because they just don't believe it. They don't believe that taking this simple action could have this simple result. I was in a community a long time ago, and in this community, the directions were very, very clear. It was, this is the thing I'm teaching you. This is the action I want you to take after you watch this piece of content. And then I want you to post what you create in our community so you can get feedback. Very clear actions. There were over 400 people in this community. And do you know how many people actually took the actions that were requested and the actions that were suggested? Any guess on how many people out of 400 actually took the actions? I bet you Kathleen knows how small this number is, but other people, anybody else know what that number would be? And let me check in on my TikTok people. And again, I'm sorry you can't see any of these slides. I don't know what's going on, honestly. Fit to screen center. Two, no, a little bit more than that out of 400, right? But and if anybody knows on TikTok how I can get this to show my horizontal screen as opposed to my vertical screen so you can see my slides, I would appreciate that. But no, that number was about 7, right? It was about 7 people that actually took that action. But here's the thing. The 7 people that took the action, every single one of them got the desired result. Yeah, so 2 plus 5. Yeah, so it was 7. But taking the action is the number one thing that people don't do. And then by them taking action, you have created value for them because they have proof if they do X, they will get Y. Right? So you've created value by showing them it works. And then, lo and behold, they actually receive the result. And then when they get the result, they are at the point B. That is the desired state. And all you did to do this is you gave them your existing knowledge. Stuff that is in your head through years of learning that now seems second nature to you. But to them, it's brand new and it has massive value. And all you have to do is be able to save them 3 things. So let's put another little thing up here. All you have to do is save them 2 things. Let's edit our text here. nope. Time, number one. That's the first thing you got to do. You got to save them time. Or you can also save them this, or you can also save them this. Oh, there it is. Those are the three things. If you can save somebody, and let me just copy that, and I will move that over here. Whoops. I will move that over here. I got to duplicate it. Right? If you can save somebody time, money, and headaches, they'll pay you for that. Why? Because that's exactly how they get this result. Right? And you don't need to see me for this. That's exactly how they get this result. From point A to point B. By you giving them the path, and generally giving it to them for free, by you giving them that path, you're getting them from point A to point B. And if you can save them time, money, or headaches, because some people want to pay, some people will pay to save time, some people will pay to save money. But if you are trying to get a result, you want to get it as fast as possible, right? Understanding it doesn't happen overnight, but you want to get it as fast as possible. The best way to do that is to understand that what you're actually giving them. You're not giving them a course. You're not giving them a community even. You're not giving them anything other than a path to get what they want. Everything that's ever been communicated, or excuse me, everything that's ever been created that someone paid for, it solved one of those three issues. And usually those come in the form of time, health. I'm sorry, they come in health, wealth, or relationships. So anything that you can do in any one of those categories means you have something that people want. So that is problem solving. Now, you might say to yourself, well, what is it that I could teach other people? This is all it takes to teach. Right? This is all that it takes to teach. And again, got to bring this down. There we go. This is all it takes to teach. You need to have read 5 books on a subject. Because here's the thing. If you have read 5 books on a subject, you know more than 99% of the world about that subject. Because most people have not studied it. They have not gone deep. And if you've read 5 books on a subject, you've probably got, I don't know, you've got it probably at least 10 hours, right? And if the average book takes 3 or 4, I mean, if it's a deep book and it takes a couple hours to get through, you've got at least 10 hours. But here's another thing. Once you read the books, then you apply what you learned. Now you have 50 to 100 hours into doing something. And if you apply what you learned in the 5 books, you apply it for 50 to 100 hours, and you get a real result, that's enough. That's enough. You don't have to be the person with the TED Talk. You don't have to be like Kathleen, who does have higher level credentials. You don't have to be the person with a best-selling book or award-winning book. You don't need a podcast. You don't need millions of followers on TikTok or YouTube. All you need to do is provide your version of how you learned it and how you applied it. That's all you need to do. Because for every person that will only want to learn from somebody who has a book or a podcast or a TED Talk or millions of followers. There's lots of other people that will relate to you better. Hi, Thorson. There's lots of other people that will relate better to you as someone who is just documenting the process of how they learned it. I heard Gary Vee say this the other day. In 2026, you are more likely to be respected by more of the people you're trying to reach, not if you come up with as an expert and present yourself as an expert, but if you just present yourself as, hey, this is what I learned, this is how I applied it, this is how I recommended it to other people, and this is how they applied it, and these are the results they got. That's it. You don't have to come off as, I am the world-renowned expert on X. You just have to say, this is me, this is who I am, this is how I learned it, because that makes the style of content that you create extremely relatable to people. Because here's what people want. They want to know these three things. And I love this. I love this, being able to do this. This is the most relatable style of content that there is. The most relatable, right here. I call it ILT. Whoops, sorry about that. I call it ILT. Invest, learn, teach. Right? Let me put it over here. Invest, learn, teach. If you can teach people, if you can invest time to learn something, and then by investing the time, you actually learn it, and then you share that process with other people, then you are teaching them. Invest, learn, teach. Best way I know that there is to create content. And the reason I know that is because a couple of years ago, I got involved with this platform right here. Whoops, that's not the one I wanted. Where is it? I got involved with this platform right here, right? And let me put it on duplicate. So I got involved with this platform. Now, I got involved in this platform before it was cool, before everybody was on it, before all these major creators were here. I got involved with that platform. And then what they did is they put an all call after the first year out to people on the platform, or maybe it was 6 months. And they said, if you want to participate in this thing that will help you monetize your knowledge, then apply here. Now, most people did not apply, right? They did not apply because they were afraid. And there were people that were far more qualified than me, but they didn't apply. So I did. And out of over 4,000 people that applied, I was one of only 100 people chosen. And it was called the School 100. And I was only, so I have just by applying and getting accepted, I have a unique perspective, especially because I'm 40 plus. There were only, out of the 100, I'd say maybe there were 5 people that were 40 and over. So teaching what I teach, I was the only one in there. So I am the only one in the world, just because I had the courage to apply and do something, I am the only person in the world that has that perspective and can make that claim. And so that makes me uniquely positioned over everybody else, because that's all I did. I just applied. Now, and this goes back to what Hormozy, hi Lady Boss, how are you? And this goes back to what Alex Hormozy says. And if you are not familiar with Alex Hormozy, where is the bearded one? Where is he? There he is. There's my guy. Right? If you're not familiar with him, he's the one that organized this contest. And he did it because he is the guy that that co-owns this platform. He co-owns it right there. So one of the things that Alex says about creating content, if you want it to be authentic and you want people to believe you, is you have to do, in his words, and hopefully I'm not going to get penalized for swearing here, but you have to do epic shit and then tell people about the epic shit that you did. Right? So I've spent 3 years on school. I'm not 6 months ago. I'm not a fly-by-nighter. I was doing this long before it was cool. I was doing it long before you could even monetize on it because I saw the long-term vision of it. Right? I saw school when there were literally a million users. I saw school when there were literally only 13,000 communities on the platform. And if you want to know how many platform communities there are now, let me just show you. What am I going to here? There I go. Sorry about that. That's my community. All right, maybe you can see that. There are 163,000. Maybe I can zoom this in so you can see it. Yeah, there you go. There are 163,000 communities on this platform now. 163,000. And actually, I need to bring this over so you can see. What am I doing here? Sorry, guys. Can I move this over? I thought I could. Oh, my goodness. I can't. All right. But if you look over here, there are 163,000 communities on this platform. When I got started, there were, like I said, there were 13,000. So I got the advantage of being an early adopter on the platform. And sometimes just being early positions you very well for the future. Because by being early and by being on it and by seeing all the ups and downs that have happened with this platform, I am uniquely positioned, especially for somebody my age. But all it is just sharing what you know. And let's go back to the, is it this one? Nope, it's not that one. Right? So I didn't read 5 books about school, but I've literally spent 1,000 hours on school. And I've not only gotten a result for myself, but I've also gotten results for people inside my own community. And I am proud to say that a couple of people that I got the results for inside my community, I actually met on TikTok. And that's these two. I met her in TikTok and I helped her get that result in 30 days. I met him in TikTok. I helped him get that result in 30 days. And that's a lot better than getting paid for your views, because that's what most people are trying to do. And that is a losing game, my friend. That is an absolute losing game. You're not very likely to win that game. But this is a game you are very likely to win. Because out of all these communities, let's go to Discover Communities. And let's go here. So out of all these communities, and let's filter by just paid communities, right? Out of all these communities, and there are how many pages of these? Now there's 30. Are there only 34? Yeah, so there are 34 pages of 30 each. So out of these, and by the way, these are community owners inside of the platform. These are only community owners. Some of them have many communities. But out of all the communities on school, 54% of them who run paid communities make money. 54%. Now, I challenge you to sell digital products. The only digital product I would sell in 2026 is a community. And we went over this yesterday. Let's see. We did go over this yesterday. Was it this one? No, not that one. Sorry about this. I put a whole bunch of new, yeah, we went over this yesterday. These are the characteristics of a great business model. And I spent a lot of time covering what they are. And by the way, these come from Alex Hormozy. I didn't come up with this myself. And the reason I listened to Alex Hormozy is because this guy has been mostly in online business for a decade. He has not sold courses to make his money. He's actually built real businesses to make his money. And so everything that I'm telling you comes out of all three of his Amazon best-selling books, but that's not where he made his money. He made his money by actually creating real businesses. And so you can look Alex up. He is the owner of a company called acquisition.com. And acquisition.com has a portfolio of companies that does $250 million plus per year. And the largest one that he owns is School, that he co-owns is School. Right? So, but if you look at that thing, School ticks off all four of the boxes that he says you need. And man, where did it go again? Sorry, guys. Where did it go? No, it's not that one. I got to label these things better. There it is. So number one, it's unique. Now, why is it unique? It's unique because you're using your knowledge. Your knowledge can't be duplicated by anybody else. Now, the subject that you know can be duplicated by others. Sure. That's absolutely true. The subject you know can be duplicated by others, but your particular knowledge about that subject, it can't be duplicated by anybody. Number two is it's a recurring income model, right? And the reason it's recurring is because when you look at a community like mine, you can go in here and you can see it's $7 a month. Now, I've got some upgrades inside of there if you want more help from me, but it's $7 a month to get this information, right? $7 a month, and they get a free trial. So you can get a 7-day free trial. And then it's canceled at any time. Totally up to you. But I guarantee you'll get at least, and I think Kathleen, if she's still here, I think she would attest to the fact that you definitely get at least $7, if not the $47 a month or $49 a month of value in the community. 100%. So what is going on here? I lost it again. There we go. So it's recurring. Number three, it's got a very high margin. Very, very high margin. Because if you go into my community, and let's get out of there. If you go into my community, and you click on this button right here that says Start Your School. Now you see two options. And this is my affiliate link, by the way. You don't need this option in the beginning. This is for people who want custom URLs, they want affiliate programs, they all of that stuff, right? And they want to lower their transaction fees. But in the beginning, you can start here. So for $9 a month, you can run a business where you can have unlimited calls, unlimited members, unlimited courses, unlimited video hosting for $9 a month. I challenge you to go anywhere else on the internet and find that. You can't, which means every dollar you make above this 10% transaction fee, you keep. And the average person who's running a paid group on school, the average person makes $1,300 a month. Now, is that life-changing money and it's going to keep you from ever having to work again? No, but you know what? Nobody's going to sneeze at $1,300 a month. And it's certainly better than AdSense or Creator Rewards or TikTok Shop. Certainly better than all three of those. So, and again, I'm not sure why nobody can see my my screen. If you want to see my screen, here's what you do. You go into, let me go back here and say hi to some folks. If you want to see my screen, go back, join me on YouTube. I know TikTok doesn't want to hear me say that, but yeah, join me on YouTube. Because there you can see everything. And again, not quite sure why the heck you can't see it on landscape. I don't know why that is. Because yesterday you could. Today, for whatever reason, you cannot. And I don't understand what that is. Let me see. Settings. Live. 1920 by 1080. Nope, nope, nope. Encoder. I'm looking here, guys. I am looking to see if there's a way that I can get this back to, and I can't, and I apologize. But you people on YouTube, you're getting the full boat. But again, let's go back here and let's see, how does this, so if you're running a business for $9 a month, and 90% of everything else is profit, do the math. So that takes you from recurring to very high margins. Because when you only have one member, and say it's $15 a month, when you only have one member and you're making $15 a month and it's costing you $9 to run it, yeah, you're not making much money. But the moment you get a second member, you double your profit. The moment you get a third member, you triple your profit. The moment you get a fourth member, and you see how this works, right? You see how this works. You get, hi, Caro, how are you? You get, yes, I am reading chats, so I can see you. Your profit just escalates for $9 a month. And then at some point, if you want more of the higher class features, great. Once you're making some money, then you can upgrade to Pro. Then your transaction costs go down to 2.9 instead of 10%. You can have a custom URL, and you can click one button and you can set up an affiliate program, which is my favorite part about this, because everybody who gets in my group, if they refer people to my group, I share 50% of the revenue from my group with the people that recommend new people to my group. 50%, not 20, not 30, 50%. Because here's the way I believe, and maybe I'm crazy, and I'm sure people will tell me that's way too high, but I believe if you're the one who helped introduce me to somebody new, you should share in the profits just as much as me. I'm sorry you can't understand English. I apologize, but maybe you can watch the recording afterwards and translate it into your language. There's always a way to translate that stuff. So, but do you see what I'm saying? This is the best way, because you're running a business for $9 a month. You don't need a website. You don't need a funnel. You don't need a landing page. You don't need email, right? You don't need any of that. You don't need it. The simplest way to run an online business in 2026 is get yourself I know TikTok doesn't want to hear this, get yourself a YouTube account. No algorithm will put you in front of your exact audience better than that. Now, a lot of people will say TikTok, but TikTok for me is too flaky. This account on TikTok has been restricted. My other one was stolen from me, and they have restricted my lives. That's why there's nobody here on TikTok. They've restricted my lives. So, and, my friend Kathleen and I, we are of the same opinion with TikTok. It's just not very friendly, and it's just not very mature. So get off there, go to YouTube, because YouTube is where people go. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. This is what Cairo said, and I love America too. But you don't have to be in America to do this. That's the thing. This company, this school platform, has members from 85 something countries, and they're on the verge of accepting foreign currency payments. Right now, they only accept actual debit or credit cards, but they're on the verge of accepting foreign payments. So you'll be able to use PayPal so people can pay you. You'll be able to use all kinds of different stuff. Yeah, and I understand that. And that's a place where it's not in YouTube. That's why YouTube is better. Because there are people in India using YouTube and this platform that are making money. There are. They have to do a workaround because of the way that money is accepted. But very soon that's about to change. For my friend Lady Boss. Now, Lady Boss, put it in the comments exactly what it is, because I always have trouble explaining what it is you do. And that's on me, that's not on you. But explain that for me by telling me what it is you do, and then put that in the comments, and then I will share that comment on the live so everybody can see it. But very shortly, we're going to be able to do more than just accept cards. We're going to be able to accept PayPal. We're going to be able to accept other forms of foreign payment that is very popular. And so when that happens, that's a whole nother explosion of growth that's going to happen. See, because a lot of people got frustrated by what school didn't have, and so they chose not to use it rather than making workarounds until school had that thing. Because that's the one thing that I've learned about school, is that usually if something is a widespread problem on school, they will work their fingers to the bone to figure out a solution to that problem. And eventually they will. Eventually they will come up with a solution for that problem. And that's because the founder of school saw that there was a problem out there. The founder of school said to himself, hey, sorry about that. There we go. The founder of school said to himself, there are lots of businesses where you need to kind of piece together a bunch of tools, right? There's a lot of businesses where you got to piece together a bunch of tools. Like you could have a Facebook group for a community, but for a classroom, you'd have to go to Kajabi, Coursera, Mighty Networks, Go High Level, something like that to get a classroom. Then to get a calendar, you'd have to have a Zoom account. And I just came up with a great video idea. To have a leaderboard, you'd have to have another piece of software. To have a map, you'd need another piece of software. To have a landing page, you'd need another piece of software. But what if, there we go, thank you. Let me put your comment up. She builds stuff using scrap material and discarded and aluminum and discarded stuff. But you don't just build stuff, you build furniture. And who do you build it for? This is where we need to dial in a little bit, Lady Boss, of what your offer is going to be. Who do you do it for? Now, the temptation is for someone to say, I do it for everybody. But if you're doing it for everybody, nobody listens to you. I would worry less, Caro. This is a good question, and I understand the ambition level. Trust me, I do. But if I were you, I would focus less on how much money you want to make and focus more on the problem you want to solve and who you want to solve it for. Right, but who are yourself, your family, and your friends? What age group are they? What um, what gender are they? Maybe what geographic area they are. Maybe what level of education they are, or maybe what level of income they are. You have to pare these things down. That's the thing. Now, for example, now she's not on this live, but let me show you somebody in my community. Let me show you somebody in my community. Now, Danny's part of my VIP program, but Danny is helping. Now she needs to update her description here though. Because she's only helping foster care parents for a certain age level and only in the UK. You see how narrowed down that is? Right? And I shouldn't probably be sharing all Danny's information, but it's live and there's not a ton of people here. So I think Danny will be okay with me doing that. But you have to get specific on who you're talking to. I saw a video by a guy that I am very I really like his content. And he said, stop trying to train the algorithm and instead feed the algorithm the content for the exact person you're trying to reach. Right? And in your case, Lady Boss, if you just say, I make stuff for everyone, then people don't know if they should watch this video. But if you say, hey, if you're over such and such an age and you live in this country, or this country, and you can't afford expensive furniture, I'm going to show you how to create such and such. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Let me see if there's anything going on TikTok that I need to know. Hopefully that makes sense. Because remember, 100 members paying you $27 a month is $2,700. Now I know you're in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know how the money translates, right? But if you were able to make $2,700 a month, what would that do for your life? How would that change things? What does that amount of money mean in Trinidad and Tobago? It's right. What is that amount of money for Trinidad and Tobago? What does that, in other words, that's about half of what the average US full-time salary is in the United States. So it means that you're halfway to your goal. If your goal is to replace your income, that means you're halfway there. So what does that mean in Trinidad and Tobago? Or Tobago, and I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Right? Because once you figure that out, you realize I don't need to attract thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions. And yeah, well, no, that's US currency, $2,700. $2,700 US. And again, even though I could do the currency exchange, I don't know what that type of money, what type of yeah, I understand that. I understand that too. But you got to be not one of those, Cairo. And maybe if the people in your country are low mentality, guess what? Don't target people in your country. Target people in other countries that have more money and are willing to spend it for the skills that you can offer. There's always a workaround. There's always a workaround. And every problem that you might be struggling with, somebody else has already figured out the solution. You just need to find it and implement it yourself. Right? And you're not one of them. So don't target people like you. Target people in other countries who have money. If $27 a month is a lot in India, and I know that it is, then target people in a country where $27 a month isn't a lot. But show that you can help those people and they'll be willing to pay you. Right? Yeah, exactly. It's a windfall for you. So, Lady Boss, all you're trying to do is find 100 people in any country that would be willing to pay $27 a month for your knowledge. That's all you're trying to do. Again, you don't need millions of views. You don't need hundreds of thousands of subscribers. You need 100 people that would be willing to pay you. Now, here's another friend of mine. He's not going to see this, but I'm going to kind of call him out because he's literally sitting on, I believe, thousands of dollars. So let me show you my friend. Exactly. So that's why we need to get your community started, right? That's why we got to get that started. We got to figure out I don't know how long it's going to take for them to get past the card thing, but I know PayPal is coming very soon. So maybe that's a way. Where is his? So this is a friend of mine. His name is Clayton. Now, Clayton has a very successful YouTube channel, right? Very, very successful. He's only got 15,800 subscribers, but I want you to look at the type. I want you to look at the type of views that he gets on his stuff. Well, actually, Lady Boss is here too, but I think she might be here from something else because I'm simulcasting on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok all at the same time. So look at this. Now this is 9 months ago. I'm trying to go in I'm trying to go in order here. Can I go in order? Can I watch them in order? Are that shorts? Anyway, look, 4,000 views, 31,000 views, 10,000 views, 7,300 views, 38,000 views, 67,000 views, 102,000 views, 94,000 views. And he's got 15,800 subscribers. In fact, I'm going to use him as because I want him to see this. Clayton, I want you to see this. So imagine 15,800 subscribers. 15,800 subscribers. So that is, if Clayton only got 1% of his audience, 1% of his audience to buy something for let's say $39 a month. And what Clayton teaches is woodworking skills. Primarily, it's woodworking skills because Clayton has been an expert woodworker and a producer of customized woodworking pieces for 3 decades. And so, what I shared with Clayton is if you can get 1% of your existing audience, forget building a huge subscriber list on YouTube. If you could get 1% of your existing audience, so that would be what, 0.01%, I think? So that's 158 people. If he could get 158 people to pay him $39 a month, that's $6,000 a month in income. $6,000 a month. And you know what? He's probably not making $6,000 a month from all those views that he's getting on YouTube. In fact, I know he's not. Because if he were, he has already told me he would no longer be doing woodworking just because the man has been doing it for 3 decades. It's physical work and he's tired. So, this is what you do. You use the tool that's at your disposal. Now, one final thing that makes this tool different than any other tool out there, one final thing, is this right here. This platform, School, and let's go back and remind you, this platform, School, they're advertising for you. They're actually advertising to bring you new members. My members could go on Facebook right now, or they could go on Instagram right now, and they could see an ad. I'm going to copy this ad over here because I think this is crucially important. You can see that ad on School. I mean, on Facebook. I'm sorry. You can see that ad on Facebook right now. And I don't know about you, but no other platform is advertising for me except this one. That's the only platform that advertises for you. And I don't think that's being played up enough. This is the only platform that will advertise for you to help you get members. And let me show you somebody who is killing it on School because of it. Let me show you somebody. Where's my guy? Oh, he's no longer on page 1 of trending, but he's on page 2. Look at this guy. Just because of the advertising that Facebook or Meta, just because of the advertising that Meta is doing to help his community, he's had his community for about 6, maybe 5 or 6 weeks. And after the 7-day free trial, that's $6,700. Now, I will tell you that if School is successful at bringing you a member, wait, did I show you this? I don't think I showed it to you. No, I didn't show it to you. I'm sorry. All right. So this guy's community, 270 members, $25 a month. That's $6,700, right? A month to learn how to play GTA 6, which isn't even released yet. That thing is not even released yet, and he's making $6,700 a month in revenue. Now, since School is running ads to people for his community, School is taking a cut. Yes, absolutely. You've got it, Caro. You've got it. And let me put his comment up here because this is very valuable. I don't think everybody can see your whole comment, or can they? Maybe they can. Let's see if we can get them to see your whole comment. Oh, there we go. Yeah, build a strong network by creating high quality content on YouTube. Yes, but the high quality content on YouTube needs to show that you can solve somebody's problem that exists. Now, you wouldn't think that it's a problem, but if you want to learn how to play GTA 6 before GTA 6 comes out, that's a problem you want solved. This guy's going to solve it for you for $25 a month. And in addition to that, he's making a very bold promise to people. He's saying make your first $1,000 on GTA 6 before it launches. And I did a little investigation, and this video game launches in November. So think about it this way. If you stay with him till November, when it launches, you will have paid $125 because he started his community at the beginning of June, or late June, and now here we are in July. If you stay in his community for that first 5 months or 4 months, right? Yeah, 4 months. You're going to spend July, August, September, October, November. You're going to spend $125. But he is basically making the claim to you that he will help you make $1,000 by playing GTA 6 before it even launches. So if you're making $1,000 and your investment for 5 months is only $125, that's why 270 people have joined his community. Now, school has helped him get those people. So let's do a little bit more math. So school, every time school brings a person to your community, school gets 30% monthly. So in other words, out of every $25 that he gets paid every month, school gets, school gets $7.50. So 270 members times 750, school gets $2,025 out of 6,700. So every time school brings a member to this community, school gets $7.50 because they get, again, they get 30%. They get 30% of his revenue. But here's the thing, and this is what I don't understand people are bitching about. You wouldn't find those people without school's help. So why would you complain that school's going to get 30% for helping you? Because here's what that does. If their ad brings in somebody, you know what it does? It tells the algorithm, hey, put this ad in front of more people like this that are willing and want to learn GTA 6. Because if it does that, it brings those people in. 270 members. And this guy's goal was to be making 5 figures a month by the end of the year with this, right? That was his goal. All right, that is a brilliant video sales letter, by the way. That's a brilliant video sales letter. And I just gave him free advertising. But that's what I'm talking about right there. If you want to play GTA 6, only GTA 6, and you want to make money from it, you go to his community. He tells you what you get inside. He tells you the advantage of starting now. And he tells you what happens if you don't join his community. Brilliant VSL. Brilliant. And that's all you need. You need to tell people what they're going to get. You need to tell them who it's for. You need to tell them what they get. You need to tell them why they do it now. And you need to tell them what happens if they don't do it. That's all you have to do is those things right there. So I barely mentioned my community during this. This is one of my longer lives. I've been on for about an hour now. But we're going to wrap things up here because it is a Sunday. And for those of you who will see this later, I appreciate you watching. One of the things that I would suggest you do with all my videos, all my live videos, I've already sped up my content in case you didn't know that. I speed my content up just a little bit so you can get through it faster and you don't have to deal with my slow speaking style. So, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap things up here by just showing you what you get inside of my community. This is his community, but this is what you get. You get a community of people that are 40 plus and are starting their own. They're starting their own community, or they want to monetize. You get a classroom with very simple steps that within the first week you have your community set up, and lots of bonuses and libraries and ways to boost engagement in your community. You get a series of weekly live calls with me. You get to take part in the competition every 30 days. I have a competition, and the one who posts the most gets a gift. They get a gift. So you got community, classroom, calendar, and to be part of the leaderboard. And all you have to do is try it for 7 days. If you decide you don't want it, and again, we are primarily for creators and experts 40 and over. In fact, I need to fix that because, and let me show you how easy it is to fix stuff like this. This is pretty cool. So, and that's all you do. See, there's no coding, there is anything. So this is hand built for somebody who is 40 and over because it's easy to use. Very, very simple. So, that's it. Yeah, check it out. And I hope you liked this video. And we will talk to you tomorrow. Take care. Bye now.